USFK Commanding General Walter Sharp and his wife Joanne visited the DMZ. Their first visit to Punch Bowl started at the Gachobong Observation Point, where the general was met by several of the ROK Army's top officers. General Sharp received a presentation that included an overview of the Battle of Punch Bowl, a battle where a certain Lieutenant Sharp served as a platoon leader.
Back then, Lieutenant Earl Sharp, who is the father of General Sharp, fought in the Battle of Heartbreak Ridge as a platoon leader. He showed the true character of a service member with strong loyalty, devotion, and sacrifice.
During the visit, the general greeted veterans of the Korean War and thanked them for their service.
Sir, it's an honor. Thank you.
Afterwards, the attendees moved to the Bloody Ridge Observation Point, which sits above the area where General Sharp's father fought. He presented ROK officers with tokens of appreciation for their continued defense of the DMZ.
But really what I want to do is thank you so much for your strong defense and your strong combined work with U.S. forces.
He also spoke of the personal nature of the visit.
And I mean, I think anybody that would come to a place where their father fought, and I've been able to read through some of the records that the historians have provided and know exactly what company he was in on what day, and that was able to relate that to the land and see the actual fighting positions and the ridge that he was at. So that's pretty emotional to be able to think back that all during that time between now back to all the way 1952 and 53 and be able to just kind of put yourself in your father's place.
General Sharp also spoke about the role his father's service played in his own decision to join the military.
When my father, he had just joined the Army before coming over here, and then fought here and came back and stayed in active duty and retired 28 years later. So we moved all around the United States, and I really enjoyed the military. I liked the way that they worked. I liked the fact that they were giving back to help defend the United States. And so when I chose to go into the military and to go to West Point, I never dreamed of my wildest dreams that, 35, 36 years later, I'd be here serving in Korea.
Army Private Tyler Ferris, Punch Bowl, Korea.
General Sharp was born while his father fought during the Korean War. I actually had both my grandfathers and grandmothers in World War II. So every Veterans Day, I like to think back about their adventures and their stories they told me through the years. It's really fascinating.
Yeah, I didn't know both my grandfathers. I knew just one, and the one that I knew had fought in World War II, Korea, the beginning of Vietnam. And I didn't come out of high school to go into the Air Force, but I always remember what he taught me about the military, remembering certain days, VJ Day, VE Day, especially Veterans Day. And I like to think that his influence, especially after my grandmother gave me his Bronze Star Medal after he passed away, I like to think that that all had something to do with me later on in life deciding to become an airman and enlisting in the United States Air Force. And
I also joined a little bit later in life, and I did so because of that. That really inspired me every time I heard their stories, and I too, since then, one of my grandfathers has passed away, but it was always very inspirational to look back over his photographs and just, the memories. One of my grandfathers actually shot down. He was a navigator in a bomber plane in the Air Force back then, and was shot down. And just to hear that story of survival and how that entire group persevered and how they were able to get everyone survived, it was just an amazing story. So especially, I, of course, like to think of Veterans Day happening all the time, not just for one day in November.
Right.
But it's always important to me to look back and remember how they persevered through that.
I'm the same exact way. I think of it all the time, and especially when every day I look at that Bronze Star Medal with the citation and that picture of my grandfather that I have, along with other pieces of military memorabilia that was given to me. To me, that was just the greatest gift that you can ever put a price on.
Yeah. And even though it is, of course, Veterans Day, the President is here for the G20 Summit. So I just want to remind you quickly, while we're still waiting for the ceremony to begin, about a little bit of this information on some closures and that kind of thing that you need to know for the Yongsan area. The on-post bus is delayed until 1 p.m., as well as the inbound bus services from other areas. The Incheon bus shuttle is running normally. 10th Corps and 8 Army Drive are closed until noon. All right, well, we're just getting word now that the ceremony is about to begin, so we're going to go live to Collier Fieldhouse and check it out. The exciting ceremony is beginning now.
안으로 길이 보전하세. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
How about those singers, huh? Oh! All right, it's my privilege to come up here and introduce the guy who gets to introduce our Commander-in-Chief. How about that? Specialist Courtney Newby. One of our own, that's right, one of our own out of 8th Army, stationed here. He's stationed here with his wife Shannon, their daughter Ty, comes out of Danville, Virginia. We got any Virginians out there? He's a combat veteran. Came out of 3rd Battalion, 7th Infantry, Cotton Balers by God, was a Bradley gunner, rifleman, was hurt in the fight, now is an HR specialist with us here. Hua, when he comes up here and he does his job, let's make sure we greet him when he comes up here, and let's make sure we send him off in a big way. You guys ready for him? Specialist Newby. I get a drum roll or something? Specialist Courtney Newby.
Soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Department of Defense civilians, and family members of the Combined Forces Command and United States Forces Korea. I'm Specialist Courtney Newby. Today is a special day for all of us in the military family. Every November the 11th, we pay tribute to our veterans, the men and women who paid the ultimate price for freedom and those who still fight for sacrifice and our liberties. This room is filled with my fellow veterans who know what it means to make those sacrifices and to serve our country. So we're especially honored to spend this Veterans Day with our Commander-in-Chief. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct privilege to introduce the President of the United States, Barack Obama.